Hello. In the previous video, I showed you how you can create new environments and switch between environments and also inspect the packages that are inherent in those environments, right? We thought we inspected the base environment, and then we created a new environment. I used my own example called GeoCan, and I believe you are able to create your own environment, and you can always inspect the packages in the new environment. I also showed you the cheat sheet, which is very good to understand how to use the command prompt. These are the various command prompts. I showed you how to use those cheat sheets so you can be able to also install packages. And we are going to use it today to install packages. And yeah, that should work. So I have my environment up and I have GeoCan already selected. If you don't know how to switch between environment, you can go back to look at the previous videos on installing environment. But then let me show you something. You can as well just do conda environment env lists, right? And if you're not sure how we got this conda env list, how do we know this command will work? We know because in the cheat sheet we can see it here. The conda env list is used is get a list of all my environment. Active environment is shown with a star. So the star is what indicate which environment is active, right? So I go back to the so I say conda env list, and I'm gonna enter. Um, Hit the enter button. It's gonna show me now. We can see the star here. This is the star it was showing. The star shows that the GeoCan is what is active. All right, and then we can also see the package. You say conda lists. With that env, is going to list the packages that are inside the environment GeoCan. Okay, we have another interesting package maybe some of you know who are into programming. It's called the PIP. The PIP is another way we install packages directly Python package. But we're not going to be looking into that today. But I just want to show you something real quick. If you switch back to the Anaconda Navigator, you can see your environment. You can activate the environment. I'm going to activate my environment now, the GeoCam, and then I will try to see what Geo can offer in terms of the home packages or some softwares that are linked like use. Okay, now Geo I can go back to home. In the home, I can see that there's what we call data spell IDE. It's an interpreter. We have the Anaconda notebook. We have the Visual Studio Code, and we have the data lore. We have the IBM, the Oracle command prompt. We have the GlueVis Jupyter Lab. I love the Jupyter Lab. So I can directly now because the environment is GeoCan, I can switch directly from here. I can get my Jupyter Lab and I can see Jupyter Notebook. Now the question is why the two? What's the difference? We also have the PyCharm, we have the Arrow Studio, and the Spider that I mentioned. But let me just play with let me show you the difference between the Jupyter Lab and the Jupyter Notebook. So in the Jupyter Notebook, if I install, I can hit install, it's going to install it as part of packages there, and as well I'm going to also install Jupyter Lab. But let me let the notebook complete installation. Sometimes you have to give it time. You need to have maybe a stable network, and that should do the trick. So while this is installing, we can quickly take a look at um, some of the Python packets, what the packages we have in GeoCan, and see what can we find there. We have the zlib. I think this is used to extract zip folder. So if you have a data that is contained in a zip folder, you may not need to start doing extract folders to file or whatever. You can use this library and ask Python to pick that folder, unzip it, and add it to a new folder. All this can be done within the Python environment, right? Um, I don't know what the VC does. I don't think I've used it. I know the PIP. Let's check again. Remind me later. And let's see. I think we've installed. It should be at the top now. Okay. Okay, let me find it. Oh, okay, I've seen it. So now we can launch. So notebook is installed. We can launch it. Visual Studio Code is installed. Um, Anaconda is installed. What else is installed? I'm sure Jupyter Lab should be. Um, it's not installed, so I'm going to try to install Jupyter Lab, and then we can also well install Spider if you want, or PyCharm if you want, but I don't use it. I'm not going to use it to teach you anything. So if you want to install for your own use and experiment, it's always good to try new stuff, try new things. I love that, but I'm not going to touch it. Okay, I'm just going to focus on the Jupyter Notebook, the Jupyter Lab, and then we can see what made those two different. While we are waiting for those to conclude, let us take more look into the library. So I think we are done. Let me go back and see. Yeah, the lab is complete. So we have the lab, we have the notebook. But let me try to launch the notebook. So Jupyter Notebook, and then I don't want to just tell you by word of mouth that this is the difference between. I just want to show you so you can see. Now I have launched it. It's going to inherit one of your browser, and then the lab too. Let's run it. Let's launch it. This is how the notebook works. We have this. These are all my folders. These are all my folders. Can go into environments. I can find some. Um, Let me see. Sure. Let me see. You can find a folder that you want to use. Um, okay. And okay. So the goal here is you can always create an environment in your computer, let's say desktop, and you can create a folder for your this work. For example, look at the software here that I created. The software is where I put all my software. So you can create them here. But the way Jupyter Lab works is different. I love it so much. So I can create new Python environment and start working new Python script, Python file rather, the file, right? And I will tell you the difference between Python script and Python code. What's a code and what's a script? We are going to talk about that. And what's a file? We're going to talk about that. So you don't confuse them when we are discussing. But right now, I just want to show you how we can install packages. So now we know we can use the Anaconda, the Jupyter Lab, and the notebook to do those. We can also do that here, right? Um, I can say Jupyter Lab, Jupyter space lab, and see if Python if it's gonna open it. Now it has opened it. You see, I don't need to run it through the I don't need to run it through Anaconda Navigator. I can run it through uh, directly through the Anaconda prompt. I don't need to use the Anaconda Navigator. So whichever that's the beauty. So you have a multi approach to get these things done, right? Um, okay, all right. Let's go back to let me open the Anaconda prompt again, and I want it to come down, activate Jucan. We are in, and then we can always change folders, right? We can I can change the drives I'm in. For example, I'm working with the, open a new file explorer and see I'm working with the, okay, I only have C drive. Assuming I have, and this is a 2 terabyte. Assuming I have another drive called D drive or E drive, I can switch between those drive. But this is a pretty new computer, so I didn't partition my drive, and that's okay. So you can as well um, move between drive. In my work computer, I move between drive easily, and I get things done. Depends on what I want to achieve. It's because sometimes the folder is in D drive and I'm running the script in a E drive, or I need to be able to connect those drives together. So Anaconda can do all those. It can find the drives, find the pathways, and link them up and get the job done. But right now, let's go into two packages. There are two packages we are going to install today, right? The first package is what I call the pandas library. So what does the pandas library do? Let's read about this pandas library. Um, Let me see if I can see W3 schools. Another place here, I will show you resources, the places where you can learn quick, you can get quick access to some of this program. Like if you go to W3 schools, there are places you can see. You can get some kind of quick help. But I'm going to introduce you by the time we go further into coding. So pandas is a Python library, right? Pandas is used to analyze data. What kind of data? Table data, CSV, right? Um, we can do a lot of things with pandas. Um, but one of the ways we kind of interact with pandas is by first we have to install it and then we have to import it. So if we don't import it, we cannot use it. But just so you know that pandas is a Python library, and this Python library is used to what? To analyze data, and those are table data. Like for example, if you don't have your Excel, you can open your Excel data in Python. So pandas will help you to read them in. We also have other libraries we call the CSV library, the CSV Python library. Let's see if I can. So we so the import CSV. So the CSV is another one that we can use, but the Python can as well read the CSV. The pandas can read the CSV. So that is why the panda is very powerful. So if you're working for any organization that handles large data sets, that also this data set have attributes that we can call, and I will talk to you when we start discussing data types, data structures. We will talk about data attribute as well and data formats, right? Is it a matrix or is it a two-dimensional, three-dimensional, and how do we handle those kind of data? So we are going to start by the first question is how do we install pandas package, right? So you go to conda. So you just say conda. I usually just say conda install, then I'll tell you the name of the package. Conda install pandas. So when you see this first one, you see it has to be anaconda because we're using the anaconda interpreter. So it has to be the anaconda. So I'll make sure it has anaconda.org in it. Or we can go to anaconda.org and tell it pandas and search for pandas. You see the pandas library. It's going to have the various pandas version. So we have the conda forge, you have the rest. So let me just say pandas. I click the first one, and while it's loading, so if you come here and say always say conda install, then the name of the package, whether numpy, matlab, matplotlib, this package is very important. That's what you're going to use, right? Just say conda install pandas, and then you pick the first one, right? The one that have anaconda.org, anaconda.org, and you scroll down, you're going to see it conda install anaconda. You see panda, so you just copy it the way it is. You say Control C, you highlight and say Control C when you've done that, and then you go back to your environment and you paste it. Control V, it's going to paste. So conda install C anaconda pandas. Then you hit enter and allow it to install. So you don't want to make any mistake, because that's why we just copy directly and paste, and then we run it. If we don't do that, the problem is that the code is going to break. So it's going to ask you why for yes or and for no. So the pandas library come with the BLAS, the bottleneck, the Intel Open MP, MKL, and NumPy. It came with a NumPy too, which is a numerical. I'm going to tell you what it does. The NumPy is a numerical library that's used to read, analyze digits, right? So if those table have numbers and orders, it's the numpy also that works in conjunction with the pandas. So you look at we have the pandas itself, so we just say yes, we want these things to be installed. So it's keep installing that, and when it's done, it's going to return back to the waiting room, waiting for you to install more. So transaction, executing transaction, verification, and then we can see. So now we are done. You see it's done. So we're going to check if the conda is there. So we say conda lists. We want to see if the pandas is there and even numpy, those things that it says. So when you check now, you see now we have in the geocan, we now have several libraries. We have our packages. So I can say libraries, I can say package are the same thing. Package and library in Python language, they are the same. So if I check for under P, I see I have a pandas. Under N, it has installed numpy. I have a friend who used to call it numpy, but it's just numpy. It's just called numpy. And then we have the pandas, we have the rest. There's one more library we need to install, and then we should be done for now. The library name is called the matplotlib. Matplotlib. So let's read about the matplotlib and see what it does. The matplotlib is basically it's a comprehensive library for creating static, animated, interactive visualization in Python. So sometimes we want to create animation, we want to see diagram moving and all that. That's what it does. We want to create static, where the plot or the diagrams, whatever we create, like what we have here, they do not move, they are static, right? And sometimes we want to be interactive, so people can click it and get results, and results will change when you click. So that's what the matplotlib is used for. But let's see how can we install it. Like I told you, you always go back, you always do conda install, and then you give it the right name. In fact, most time you see it there if you search a lot of libraries. But I'm just going to type it myself. I say matplotlib, and then you see the first one. It has the anaconda.org. So I click it, and then I'm going to scroll down. They have different way, because sometimes it can fail. So they have usually they forge it. So a forged one most times ignores any broken links, right? So I'm going to use the first one. Say conda install, conda forge, matplotlib. I will go to my anaconda command prompt, and then I'm going to paste it, and then I will hit the enter and allow it to cook. While it's cooking, sometimes it complains. It's going to tell you there's some HTTP problem, there's some things, it found some debug, it's trying to debug it. Those are not your problem. You just want to see it run. If it doesn't run, you go back and you select the next one, which is the one that identifies the broken parts, the broken level parts. So, but hopefully this will run. And sometimes it can take a couple of minutes and order, but if you have a good internet connection, that should work. And I think Python work offline. but installing these libraries you need to have maybe internet. Yeah, this should work. So the matplotlib is going to come with some features which are good. Matplotlib base, pillow, apply. Yeah, we just say y, then we say enter, then let it complete the installation of this package, and then we can inspect it and we are done. So let's see. There are several other packages, but we for now I'm just showing you the two packages we need. We need the pandas, we need the matplotlib. If you are into geospatial analysis and you work with raster images or images, you want to download more called the raster IO. The raster IO is used to analyze raster images, to kind of read and analyze raster images. But we're not going to that today. We're going to start with the basic, and we'll see how far we've gone, if we have to make those progress. But I'm sure I just want to get you started. All right, so we're done. We're just gonna say Python. We're gonna say conda list. So let's find if you have the pandas now and the matplotlib all included. So making sure it doesn't take a remove. So we have the numpy, we have the pandas, we have the matplotlib. Very good. Numpy. Very good. And we also have the pandas. Very good. So everything is set and we're good to go. So just to recap, the goal of this video is to show you how to um, switch between environment and create packages, install packages within the specified environment of your choice based on your research or your job demand. So that's what we need to do there, and I think that should be fine. You can always go back to inspect those environment and see, refresh and see um, which. So this is all about how to install packages using the Anaconda prompt. If you have any question, feel free to reach out to me, and thank you for listening. See you on the next one.